Hi, everybody. Welcome to my channel, Be Free Now with Maria. Today, I want to talk about why we do things that we don't really want to do and then end up building resentment over it. In other words, we don't really want to, let's say, do the job that we're doing, but we stay there. Why? Right? Because we need the money. Okay, that's understandable. However, why stay there so long, right? In other words, staying there for a short period of time makes sense because, right, if you have these bills to pay, you can't just walk away from that. So you stay, right, because you have to pay these bills. But why are we staying where we don't really want to stay? And that's a question then to contemplate, because then we start building resentment and complaining about the job. But it's really more about we don't really want to be there, but we're there. And because we keep on making that choice to continue to stay, it's ultimately what's leading to our yucky feelings and then to our resentment. So, yes, while staying for a short term or for a certain amount of time makes sense, we still need to do the part of exploring, right? What is it? Why is it that we are in this job? What other job would we like to be doing? And what do we need to do to bring ourselves there, right? And then we can also look at what's holding us back from being there and from moving in that direction. And then we may say, well, I don't have the resources or I don't have the money. And then, right, if we can figure out a way to make that work, what else could be blocking us, right? Because sometimes the surface is, I don't have the time, I don't have the money, I have too many responsibilities and so forth. But when we move that out of the way, in other words, find a way to make that all work itself out, we may see that, well, no, there's also fear, right? And doubt, and that we may not really trust our ability to be able to succeed in something else. And so then we hold ourselves back. So sometimes it's not the surface reason that we just need to sit with. We also need to explore, could there be something else if we were to remove the surface reason out of the way. So, right, we want to ultimately create a place where we are exploring why we keep on saying yes to something that doesn't feel good. Now, this could apply to anything. I mean, that was just one example, but why do we stay in relationships that we don't want to be in? And sometimes we think, well, I need to leave, but I can't because of X, Y, and Z. But sometimes it's not even so much that we have to leave, right? As we're exploring, why am I there and why do I feel I need to be here and what do I need to do if I really wanted to leave, right? Something else we may realize, which is that, wait, I'm feeling a lot of fear or I'm feeling a lot of anxiety or I'm feeling a lot of self-doubt. And once we work through that and we start showing up different to the relationship, well, guess what? Sometimes we don't even have to leave the relationship. Sometimes when we change these patterns, the relationship, the dynamics within the relationship change. It almost kind of like, follows. It's like this, then this. So who knows? Sometimes we don't even have to leave. And sometimes we do. I don't know. But I do know that when we are exploring why we're staying or why we're doing things or saying yes to things that we don't really want to say yes to, that we get to learn more about what's behind our decisions and our choices. And we're going to grow from that. And we're also going to have feelings come up for us, right? So as we're learning things about ourselves, we're going to feel certain ways about it and certain emotions are going to start, coming up for us. And then being able to tolerate sitting through those emotions. Now that's a process, but it's something to start exploring and to start working through, because as we do, we strengthen ourselves. In other words, if we're able to tolerate uncomfortable emotions, then we're able to get to what's beneath our actions and our decisions. What's really going on here. It increases our ability to obtain that self-awareness that's going to help us then make changes that prosper us emotionally speaking. Because when we're no longer in that space of feeling the need to say yes when we don't really want to, or staying in a job and not doing anything that's bringing us out of that job or anything that's helping us help that relationship or change from that relationship, then we're just going to stay in that space that much longer. And ultimately, that's not what we want. We want to feel, right, more empowered, and we want to have more of what we want. And if we want to create that, then there are certain things that we need to do to be able to bring ourselves to that moment in time where we eventually can leave that job or the relationship or anything else, or transform that relationship by changing our own patterns and showing up differently to the relationship. So I hope that helps. But before we end, I do want to pick a word from my bag of words and see what else I'm inspired to share. Oops. One popped out and one is in my hand, so give me a minute. Let's see, what do we got here? Oh, friendliness and satisfaction. So we'll start with satisfaction. Satisfaction is something that we're going to experience when we are exploring, right, the stuff that is not working for us. We're ultimately going to experience some satisfaction because we're learning about ourselves, and then we open up the possibility to make some changes that will ultimately lead us to satisfaction, right? And friendliness, well, this is something that is easier to exhibit when we're feeling good. In other words, if we're feeling yucky inside, we're more likely to be closed off, less friendly, and so forth. But when we're feeling good and more satisfied, we tend to show up friendlier to our relationships and to the world. And that creates a different experience for us too, right? Because that friendliness creates a vibrational frequency, right, where people feel good around us, and that enhances our relationships all around, because when people feel good around us, right, there's a better experience within that interaction, more than likely at least. So friendliness is something that will follow satisfaction easier. Doesn't mean that we can't be friendly when we're not satisfied, because we can always show up with a smile and kindness and some friendliness, even if we're not exactly where we want to be. But it surely is easier when we're feeling satisfied with the choices that we're making, and not necessarily just saying yes when we really want to say no. So I hope that helps and prospers you in some way, and that you have a beautiful day. Bye for now.